There's an old saying that tells us if we want to go fast, go alone. If we want to go far, we go together. And here at BGW, we believe in the power of going together. We believe in the power of partnering with professionals, with experts that can help you get as a church from where you're at to where God is calling you to go. And as we've said many times in these seminars, there is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter model for your church. God has called you uniquely to be his expression in your community. And we want to make sure that in every journey we go on with a church, that we treat that church like the beautiful expression, unique and beautiful that they are. And because of that, we have set up a process that really gives you a front row seat into understanding and discerning which of our partners that we have would be the best fit for you, your church, to engage in. I want to share with you a little bit about that process, maybe introduce you to some of our strategic partners, and hopefully invite you into a very relational process of connection and discerning together next steps for you and your ministry as you move forward, chasing bravely the call and the mission of Jesus for your life and for your church. All of this begins for us with what we call a 30-minute story call. You know, a lot of times you'll talk to companies and consultants in the church world that will spend a lot of times telling you about themselves. We want to start by flipping that script and understanding who you are. What is God doing in the unique expression of your church? We want to understand in that story call your leadership, your passion. How long have you been at your church? What are some of the unique challenges that you're facing? And where do you feel as a leader that God is calling you to lead your congregation? After that story call, we're actually going to share your story as we write it down with our stable of experts. We want to introduce them to you, to your mission, to you as a leader and what God is doing in your community. Along with that story introduction, we are also going to put together a pretty robust demographic study for your community, your building, your neighborhood, where God has called you to be. That's going to be a report that's made available to you and to your team free of charge, but it's also a report that's going to help inform our team to best discern how we can serve you and help you move forward. From there, we're going to follow back up. Sit down. Connect on Zoom, which we've all become terribly familiar with in 2020. And we're going to talk about next steps. We're going to talk about the partners we feel like are best to introduce you to, and together, along with your staff, your elders, your leadership team, really the team of your choosing, begin to lay out a step-by-step strategic path forward for you to pursue. Man, I think there's power in understanding next steps, especially for those of us who are visionary leaders. I know for me, sometimes it's so easy for me to see the dream God's put in my heart for 10 years from now, but I don't know how to carry that out on a Monday morning. And as we all know, when it comes to mission and vision and dreaming about who and where God is calling us to be and to go, we have got to take step one before we can ever take step two. We have got to seize a Monday before we can ever see a 10-year vision come unto fruition. And so that strategy is a big part of what we want to help you with in this process of examining your facilities, examining how you're worshiping and who you're reaching, and maybe even who you're not reaching and not touching in your community. We want to walk with you as God turns the lights on around you and you begin to see a clear path forward illuminated by His Spirit and His Word. As we lay out that strategic plan, and our hopes are that there are going to become a few of our strategic partners that just rise to the surface. We've got strategic partners in the Patterson Center. that through a StratOps process, work with hundreds of churches every year to help lay out a detailed strategic plan that understands the history of the church, that understands the failures and the successes that are behind you, and with all of that in view, lays out a clear path forward that is measurable, attainable, but most importantly, God-sized in its scope. We also have for-profit partners that oftentimes can come in and help churches dream a business dream. One of the best models that we have had the privilege of working on many times as a company at BGW is the partnership between a preschool and childcare center with a church that's in the middle of a building project. It is a great crossover that we see not only creates economic engines for churches to be able to dream bigger and afford more, but also creates people flow into your building, 100 to 150 families, Monday through Friday, every morning dropping off their kids, giving you an opportunity to love extravagantly and preach the gospel without ever using words.